When you're trying to create something real, you need to look at reality. You can't just look at your computer screen. You can't think that you know. You want to be imaginative, and you want to draw from what you've observed and from your reference material and build upon it to create something that's outside of our reality.
I wanted it to be a new adventure, you know, bring back a lot of the same characters, but it needed to be a new adventure, a new story, new special effects. You know, I didn't want to rely on old tricks. I had to, you know, take it to a whole new level, make it, you know, not only bigger, but try to make it much better.
There's some new monsters. I think that'll be kind of funny. The skeleton creatures that are in the jungle, and then the Anubis warriors who rise from the sand.
For the Anubis warriors, we looked at dogs, we looked at ostriches, we looked at big dogs, and we looked at all of the hieroglyphic references that we could find. We looked at different kind of fur patterns. We looked at all kinds of mythological renderings, and we looked at every movie that was ever made that ever had anything Egyptian in it. And then we start to build from that.
We've got an army of thousands of dog-headed Anubis warriors storming this ancient city and laying siege to it.
This is what makes a dog look like a dog. He's got fur that looks like this, it reflects light this way. When he is angry, these are the things that his expressions do. This is what mean dogs look like, this is what dogs that are hurting look like. And we can put those faces on the dogs depending on whether they're winning the battle or losing it. And it makes a big difference as to how the characters play on the screen.
We knew from an early storyboard that the production supplied us with that we wanted to have some of these Anubis warriors climbing the walls of the city and really getting the feeling of an invasion. We started high on the wall and we populated our city with some simple pawns representing the Anubis warriors, and we come down past this tower and to the ground level where the shot finishes, focused on the hero temple. And we include the Anubis warrior, which then bursts into sand and takes us through this transition to the 1930s. This is where we do our big transition from ancient times to the time that the rest of the story takes place.
Where is the bracelet?
It's on its way to merry old London.
The sequence where the O'Connells are racing through the streets of London in a double-decker bus, fighting hand-to-hand with 4 soldier mummies. In fact, the same soldier mummies from the first film. The 4 that were left at the end of the first movie are the 4 that appear at the beginning of the sequence in the second mummy. And, in fact, O'Connell reacts by seeing them and saying,
"Oh no, not these guys again!"
We had a fantastic time, again, working back and forth with the realism created by makeup and creature effects and the sort of things that we can do nowadays with computer graphics animation, where we can do things that can't be performed by a performer, but they all cut seamlessly together in an action sequence.
No, not my car!
Oh, I hate mummies.
Glad to see me now?
Just like old times, huh?
Right!
I realize a split second before it hits us that something's coming. And the something that's coming are going to be these little pygmy guys. Steve is fond of saying, the pygmies alone will be worth the price of admission.
Stephen was talking about the pygmy mummies pretty early on and thinking that they were going to be something that was going to be in this movie that was completely different from what had been in the first film, but still had that dynamism, that scariness, and that kind of crazy creepiness. So to us, right away, we kind of felt the vibe on these guys, and the art department went to work. They're going to be small, they're going to be mean, they're going to have big pointy teeth, and they're going to be just ill-tempered and crazed. They're deranged. And this is where we went with it. And Stephen was like, yeah, that's the guys. You know, what are those guys like? And we started to create the drawings. And these guys are swinging through the trees on vines, and they're barefoot, and they've got, you know, sticks growing out of their heads because they've been laying around in the bushes for 3,000 years waiting for somebody to walk into their trap. And you have these wonderful sequences with Rick O'Connell running along, and his son's hanging off his back and saying, "Dad, look out behind you." And he turns around, and here's this crazed, demented midget with a big knife. He's like, whoa! Luckily, he has a shotgun, and that's the end of that guy. You have this moment that you're now able to create where you have this huge army of live-action figures that's now going to interact directly with 32,000 synthetic warriors. And that's really what we're targeting for. The soldier mummies, the priest mummies, the pygmy mummies, and all these characters. And we bring that complexity together. Now we've got something happening. Now we've got an army that really looks great. It looks great even up against the live action elements. And now you can have a battle. And that's really what we were after.